Alright, everybody, here. We're here with a review for issue number 2 of DC's Sideways, one of their new Age of Heroes comics. I actually really enjoyed the first one. I really did. I thought it was pretty interesting, fresh breath of air. It had some very Spider-Man-y vibes, which was a good thing, I guess, because Spider-Man's an awesome character, so I really didn't care. You can see more of my review on the first issue farther down my channel's archives. But today we're focused on issue number 2, which was a pretty good follow-up. I had a few problems with it, not nothing serious though. Um, as we finished the last issue, basically Sideways was doing some YouTube kind of stuff. He was trying to show off on YouTube, try to become a superstar. He was doing a guided tour around the world with his powers, which is actually kind of cool when you think about it. A cool way to use the power, I guess. And but then this galactic entity guy popped up, and he's talking like he's a judge, or he's like an enforcer of the rules of interdimensional travel. And he was basically telling Sideways that Sideways is too rash. He's using his powers, aggressively, and he's going to cause some serious damage to the universe. So that in this guy's eyes, he just needs to kill Sideways. That's the only answer, I guess. So of course Sideways doesn't want to die, and Sideways is trying to open a portal, but this guy's power is basically that he can neutralize the powers of dimensional travelers like Sideways. So Sideways can't get away. So basically Sideways has to fall off the building and try to get enough distance between him and the villain that he can actually open his portal, because the villain made the mistake of saying, like right before that scene, that well, as long as Sideways is in proximity of his staff, Sideways can't use his powers. So yeah, Sideways gets banged up real bad because he's getting knocked around on buildings and shit. And I probably should have mentioned earlier, but I am going to be basically reviewing the entire book, so it's probably be a spoiler-heavy book review. With that being said, though, Sideways is able to get away by teleporting to the very last second. When he gets enough distance, he's able to teleport, open a portal, or rift, whatever the terminology is. He does make an interesting Jack Kirby reference, which is kind of funny because it seemed pretty meta for a DC Comics character to make a Jack Kirby reference, because he says something like this villain is a character out of a Jack Kirby comic. I just wanted to say that because when I read that line, I was like, really? That seems pretty meta for a comic that doesn't seem to have any other meta issues to it or ideas to it. And so he basically pops up at his sidekick's house. I forget her name, the little costume cosplaying chick. She basically brings him to the hospital because he's all banged up with his costume, which thought was kind of weird. I think she might have put it in the bag or something. I don't know. And then we basically get like a whole like kind of background information to what happened to him right after he got his powers, how he was falling through the rift and he landed in the middle of the city. He was hurt. His mom was looking for him throughout the wreckage of Gotham, and she couldn't find him. Eventually, she does find him in a hospital. He was listed as just like a Joe. What do you call it? A Joe? I want to say a Jared Dirt, but I know that's not the right term. But yeah, so we get a lot of information about basically the mom hunting after her son. It's really implied that she really cares for her son, and that she feels guilty for him getting hurt, but she doesn't really know he has powers. The doctor is very skeptical, because the doctor's like, hey kid, there's something really weird about you, and I need to figure out what it is, so I want to run some tests. Of course, Sideways really doesn't want to have any tests ran, but his mom is very impliant that she does. This part of the book's a little boring, honestly. It's just a bunch of, emotional momo-jumbo, which, I guess some people like. I just didn't care for it. We do get some more insight into the sidekick character a little bit more, what's her name, Enif or something like that? She's we get to see kind of her motivation and see that she can very easily be a love interest for Sideways, just the way they're acting with each other. But things are cut short when we find out there's a prisoner, not a prisoner, but there's a patient in the hospital that was shot by the police because she was doing a crime or something, and they're trying to sedate her, but she has super speed, and apparently her super speed makes her able to heal fast. So the sedation doesn't work, and she starts causing a riot. She starts killing people in the hospital, like the guards and such. She takes a needle from this doctor and stabs him with it, and she's basically, causing an uproar. So, of course, Sideways, being the hero he is, or I guess stepping up to be the hero he is, decides to confront her even though he's hurt and he doesn't have all he has is his mask on, wearing his hospital gown. It's actually pretty funny, and tries to fight her, and that's where we leave for the next issue. Is they're going to be their fight. His first actual. This is basically his first villain of the week or villain of the month. I guess comic book terms. issue, and it really raises the question, like, are we going to see more? Are all these new characters going to have their own rogues gallery, or are they going to borrow from other characters? Are they going to borrow from established villains like, say, Cheetah or Joker or something like that? Just naming people. It'd be interesting to see, like, how their villains work. Like, if they're all going to have their own villains, if they're going to make several villains for each character. I don't know. But so far, this is the second villain that's been made for this character. Also, I didn't mention it earlier. There's we also see a small glimpse of something fall through one of Sideways' rifts. That's from another dimension. It looks kind of like it might be some kind of... Honestly, it looks kind of like a symbiote thing. Like it's a black ooze that grabs onto like a bird or something and starts killing it. If that is what it is, I really hope it's not, because that feels like it's just really, really, really playing on the Spider-Man themes, and I hope it doesn't. I mean, you can have some similarities, but don't like make all your villains like Spider-Man villains, like clones. I hope they don't do that, really do. But anyway, we don't really find out what that is, but it'll be interesting to see what the black ooze thing from the other dimension is. Also, I had a problem with the main like judge guy, not being able to follow Sideways, because in the last issue he followed Sideways all across the world, but he couldn't follow Sideways once he got away from him. Like, was it because it was too much distance? Was it because he was impressed by his ability to get away and he just didn't want to kill him anymore? Or like, what was the idea behind that? I'd like to see more of that. Or did he have some other pressing issue to go after? I don't know. That was kind of a problem. Like logic-wise, that was a problem for me. Also, I don't like this new villain. I think she calls herself Kill Speed, which is a stupid name on my opinion. And I thought she was a silly villain. I thought she was really exaggerated. Like, her dialogue is really exaggerated and sounds like something out of an 80s Saturday morning cartoon. I just didn't really care for it. But I did like the comedy in this issue. I like how Sideways is gonna be fighting this hospital gown. That's gonna be silly and fun to look at. Overall, it's a fun issue, but I think the writing could have been a little bit tighter. The art is amazing as it usually is. So far, I really do think this is my favorite of the New Age of Heroes books. I haven't really read a whole lot of them, but I have read a few, and I think this is my favorite. I just like the art's very detailed, and the story is pretty interesting. This issue, I think, was a little bit weaker than the first issue, but it is definitely building up an interesting world, and I hope to see where it goes. Thank you guys for watching, as always.